I think people want to see some change. I think they want to hear their voices heard. I think they want different things, not the status quo. And I get that. I mean, I think our history of this nation has a lot of things have come about by change. There's a single incident we can refer to, and that made a difference in all kinds of aspects. So I think that's what most people want, and I understand that. And I think there will be change out of this, and it will be good.
Thank you so much. All right, let's see if we have any other questions.
I have one. Chief, I heard that there's supposed to be a rally that the police is putting together on Wednesday. Is that correct?
Well, it's not us. It's in cooperation with the Justice Center. Yes, we're going to have a March for Unity with everyone together, from the front lawn of the Nelson over to Mill Creek Park in front of the plaza. I want to show people that we can have our dialogue and differences and speak and not have to throw tear gas or any of that. So we'll have we have the mayor, city council members. We have Emil Hamilton from the Church of Resurrection. I think we have over 30 pastors coming to join us. I think we're going to have a great event.
Mm. Okay, great.
Awesome.
Can we get a flyer so we can send that out to our constituents who would like to attend?
Oh, you bet. We'll get Scott Simons to send it out to everybody.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Awesome. Are there any other questions from our residents before we let Chief Smith go? If so, please use the question and answer feature right now. Oh, looks like we've got one more that's come. Oh, okay. Scott said that he'll be sending the flyer to us as soon as possible. Thank you so much, Scott. We appreciate that. All right. Well, again, thank you so much, Chief Smith and Captain Simons, for your hard work and what you're doing today down on the plaza. We really appreciate you.
Thank you very much. And I would ask everyone, let's pray for calm. Everybody, I think everybody wants the same things. I don't think there's really a difference here, but I really want our city back. Kansas City, the great city we love, where we may have our differences, but we work them out without destroying things and our reputation and each other.
Thank you so much. Oh, there was one last question from a Sean Bryant. Are KCPD officials allowed to participate in the protest? It seems like
you mean, I guess I don't understand the question. Could they go across into the crowd? Is that what you're saying?
I guess they're asking if police are allowed to like their front lines.
You cut out almost the whole time. I can't hear a word you're saying.
The question is, are KCPD officials who are off for the day, are they allowed to participate in protests?
Of course they are. As long as it's peaceful and all that, of course they are.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Officer Smith will let you go. Thank you again for all your hard work and what you're doing today.
Thank you. Sorry for the distractions, and I really appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you so much for your time, Chief.
All right, take care. Be safe, everyone.
Hey, we need a break here because we got
Thank you so much.
6 more days to get out and force them back up on the sun.
All right. Kima, do you know if Robert Woods is on the call? Oh, I see him here.
Yes, he's on.
Okay. Hey, Robert.
Our videos are not popping up. It's disabled, so.
I'm not sure why that's happening.
It's okay. Yes, we can hear you, Robert.
Wait.
All right, Robert, go ahead and if you want to talk about the 5th District meeting.
You know, I did dress appropriately for this occasion, but it's okay. You don't need to see my face.
I'm sorry. I don't know why that's.
It's fine, too. So, yeah, my name is Robert Woods. I am a special projects coordinator. Let me turn this fan off. Okay. My name is Robert Woods. I'm a special projects coordinator for the city of Kansas City, Missouri. we do plan on, but we will have the 5th District cleanup this Saturday, coming up Saturday.
Try it now, guys. See if your video is working now.
They say you can't start your video because the host has stopped it.
I am so sorry. I'm not sure what's going on there. I'll continue to try and figure that out.
It's okay. It's okay, Angela. It's okay.
I keep moving. So we will have the cleanup, 3 locations for the cleanup. We will start at 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. this Saturday. We will have trucks at Southeast High School, that's 3500 East Mart Boulevard, Center Alternative School, 8434 the Paseo, and 2801 East 80th Street, which is Marlboro East. So I think y'all, okay, sweet. So there is a flyer out for that. It says the locations of what will be collected. Pretty much everything but hazardous materials. Okay, that's the only thing that will not be collected. So if you have deep freezers, big refrigerators that contain hazardous materials, they will not accept it because these will be all trash trucks. So please, sir, please, ma'am, come out. We will have the solid waste team out to get the stuff, as well as the tire truck. So there will be tire collections at all 3 locations as well. And I cannot emphasize enough, they will be collecting tires with or without the rim in them. So, and we will also, like the flyer says, we will still be practicing the social distancing policy. And please wear your mask. So we will try to do everything we can to make sure that people stay spaced out. But please wear your mask and please be safe. That's all I have.
Thank you so much, Robert, for taking the time to join us today. We look forward to having the 5th District call. 1 second, trying to get this to work. Are there any questions about the 5th District meeting? Any questions about that in our Q&A? Feel free to do that, or to send questions that way through the Q&A feature here on the Zoom call. Is there anything else, Rob, that you need to or want to share as it relates to the 5th District cleanup?
No, like I said, I look forward to seeing everyone out. Also, if your neighborhood wants to participate in other cleanups, please contact me. My contact number is on the flyer. Also, I don't think my email is robert.woods@kcmo.org. Again, that's robert.woods with an S @kcmo.org. So definitely, if neighborhoods want to do any type of cleanups, that's blue bag cleanups or dumpsters or whatnot, please give me a call, contact me so we can set those things up.
Thank you so much, Robert, for taking the time to talk to us about that. If there looks like we don't have any questions about the cleanup, we'll go ahead and transition to our PIAC representatives. Erik Dickinson and Ruth Turner are on today. Erik and Ruth, are you guys there? I think yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, wonderful. If you guys can go ahead and share with our residents about the PIAC process. I know we're working on finalizing some of the dates for the hearings, but you guys want to talk about that, what it is, how they can apply?
Okay. All right, I'm going to just go through the step process and let you know from beginning to end what you need to do. Basically, this first step will be done between June and August, where the neighborhood hearings are held in each district to hear requests. The deadline for applications is August 31st. Between September and November will be step 2, where PIAC holds committee meetings, review the citywide capital improvement plan and the KC Go Bond plans as well. We'll review that during that second step. Third step is City Council and the PIAC reps meet to look over application and cost estimates from December to January. In March will be the fourth step. The mayor and the city council will adopt the city budget on the 4th Thursday in March. The next step will be step 5, will happen in April. That's when notices will be sent. People will know if their project has been funded or not funded by April. That information will go out to all that have made an application. The funded projects on step 6. Once the budget is approved on May 1, funds are available to start the project. Step 7 would be design and planning, the engineer review design and design projects and preliminary design and right-of-way plans. And the last stage was that me? Will be the construction of the project. It takes from anywhere from 3 months to 2 years, depending on the scope of the project. So, you know, it's pretty simple. The major part is making sure you attend a public hearing and your application is turned in by August 31.
Yeah, and I like to add some, I think, to help in terms of getting your project highlighted through this process. As you know, we get several PIAC requests throughout the summer and actually through December. Sometimes we can receive anywhere from, over 200 plus of PIAC request forms. So I would encourage anyone that's really wanting to highlight your project to do come out to the public hearing. And of course, we have our first public hearing July the 7th. And I understand that RSLE is trying to schedule an in-person hearing for the 5th District for August 25th, I believe, at the South Patrol Police Station there off Marion Drive. So in submitting your form, if you could put more of the form, put details supporting details with your form, that helps highlight it. And if you can even come and make presentations about your particular project, that even helps even more.
It's a little hard for us to hear you. I'm not sure if you're on speaker or not. If you can talk a little bit more directly into the microphone, it's difficult for us to hear you.
I know one part that we had talked about, making sure that our residents understand the public hearings are very important. That's your opportunity to come out and give your project the best eyes, if you will, or have some people really behind it to let people understand the passion and what's really important about it. The worst thing that can happen sometimes is getting a piece of paper that hasn't fully explained it, or there's something that we just don't get. So it's something to having people involved to show up and really talk about what's important in their project. It kind of puts a name with the face. It also gives you a little more caring, if you will. It shows that it's important to your area or your neighborhood. So making sure that you come out to a community hearing is good. I also think it's give you a chance to hear other projects that are being presented, and you may see that something was stronger or something you'd like to see differently if you have the opportunity to redo it again. So it's the public hearings are very important in this process.
Thank you, Eric, for reiterating that. Ruth, are you still there? Perhaps.
Yes. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Well, thank you. Erik has kind of re-emphasized the point of coming out to the public hearings. And I think hopefully everyone heard that our first public hearing will be July the 7th, and it will be a virtual meeting, kind of like what we're having on this evening. And I believe RSLE is trying to set up an in-person one for August the 25th at the South Patrol Police Station at 6 o'clock, 6 to 8. So it's very important that you come, and if you can, send a representative to make your presentation. Also, I would like to add that if you submit it several times, if it's good to write on your PIAC request form the number of times that you've submitted, that also helps to raise your project in the process.
Thank you so much, Ruth, for saying that. And just in case you guys didn't hear that last piece that she was saying, Ruth said to include how many times you've applied for your PIAC project. That will be helpful when the PIAC representatives are reviewing your project. Another question we've got from Brad is, will citizens be allowed to view applications and provide feedback? Has that been part of the PIAC process before?
Can you repeat that question, Angela?
Sure. The question is, will citizens be allowed to view applications and provide feedback as it relates to PIAC?
To review others' applications, is that what they're referring to?
Yes, that's what it sounds like. And Brad, feel free to clarify in the Q&A feature if that's not what you meant, but yes.
Well, I would assume because they're public documents that anyone can review any of the PIAC applications, but that's something I think Araceli would be, one better to answer, because they would have to go through her in regards to viewing others' applications.
Thank you. We've got a follow-up question from Brad. He says, up until a couple of years ago, the city used to post projects that were awarded money on the PIAC website. The city has discontinued that policy. Will you work to make this information public once again?
Again, Araceli is the program administrator, so I'm assuming that's who had put those in the past. And Rose maybe have listed those out in the past. So that's not something that the PIAC reps do, but I would think that would be appropriate.
Okay. That's something that we will follow up on as it relates to PIAC. Erik and Ruth, if it's possible, I know that this PIAC process, if you guys can kind of talk about or, explain some of the ways in which you all reviewed the PIAC applications, what was important to you in an application, things that citizens should emphasize in their applications for this upcoming year, if there's any advice or key points they should make.
Well, I can talk about the areas that PIAC has mainly been considered for, and that is usually like drainage and stormwater issues. Also, neighborhood parks. Another category is sidewalks and curbs. And then fourth category would be like roadway improvements. And then we usually have like a fifth category, this other, when you kind of get some miscellaneous things in there that didn't fit in either one of those four categories. And we kind of look at water issues as being a high priority. And I think that's the city actually puts the priority on these projects, public works, water services. But usually water getting into, causing problems has very high priority as it relates to stormwater runoff. From there, things like parks, neighborhood parks, so that families and residents can get out and enjoy the park. It's usually kind of I would say, kind of secondary there, along with roadway improvements normally are really high dollar projects. And so if we consider a roadway, we try to do more of the planning for that roadway. The planning dollars to get it into design and get the right of way done. And then usually from there, that project is so, it goes beyond what our neighborhood or fifth in district funds can do. So by doing those kind of things, the planning and the design and the right of way, it allows our projects, roadway projects, to get on what they call the GEO bond list, which is the citywide list where the funds can be made available to support a roadway project. So those are kind of the things we're doing there. And if you roadway that needs improvement and what have you, usually the in-district funds is not the place to try to request that, other than for planning, for design, for right-of-way costs. And my understanding is we have to have that already done before we can even recommend it for citywide funding. So I talked about the drainage, I talked about neighborhood parks. The sidewalk is another category that's on the no bond list. And so we still have a meeting, I guess, with Public Works to try to see how we can begin to address sidewalks better, because sidewalks are another costly item. And when you only have about $4 million in district funds, a sidewalk project, sidewalk and curbs can easily get up to $1 million just for a section, not even talking about, you know, even doing a whole side of the street. So we're looking to try to get more sidewalk projects addressed and how we can be more, use our monies more efficiently and more effectively to deal with sidewalks and curbs.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ruth, for kind of giving us that overview. We did get a question. You talked about 4 different categories. Can you go over those again for the folks who weren't able to catch all of those categories that you listed, please?
Sure.
And hold on, before you do that, Ruth, if I could just ask everybody to make sure if you're not talking to mute your phone, and maybe that will help. Thank you.
Okay, the 4 categories that I named, the first one was the drainage and stormwater runoff. The second one related to neighborhood parks. Third category was roadway, sidewalks and curbs, and also we get roadways can also be listed there, but sidewalks and curbs is a third category. The fourth being the roadway improvements themselves. And then sometimes we have a fifth, which is other, that won't fall into those 4, that will drop a PIAC request in.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We've got another question from an anonymous attendee. What is the purpose of noting how many times you've applied? Is it how many times you've been awarded, or is it how many times you applied and were not awarded when you talked about the PIAC applications?
Okay, I was referring to how many times you've applied and you haven't been funded.
Thank you. And can you share why that information is something you guys would like to know?
Well, it's important because, for instance, if you've applied, say you've applied 3, 4, or 5 times, and someone else has only applied the first time, and all things being equal, when we go through our review process, we take yours at a higher priority than one that just came in that year. Because you've already applied, you've been applying, and you keep applying. And so we want people to believe in the process. And so that helps us to distinguish between equal projects, if you will.
You know, as a new rep this year, I did take note of things that had been across the desk several times, and it did give it a little more weight, just because it's something that was, they're all important, let's say that. But it's also something that shows that someone's really trying to have, they're there for the long haul. So there were several that had been applied 3 or 4 different times that it did make a difference in my mind that it wasn't a new idea or something that hadn't been fleshed out or thought about. So it does give you a little more weight to say we've been here 3 or 4 years and it's still important and we're still here.
Thank you so much, Erik and Ruth, for talking about the PIAC process and some of the things that you're looking for. But at this time, feel free, if there's any more questions, to write them in the question and answer feature. We'll go ahead now and transition to our legislative. Oh, looks like we got another question here. Perfect. This question is from Brad. What % of PIAC awards go to neighborhoods versus business districts? Is that something, Ruth, that you guys have tracked in the past?
No, we haven't tracked that. I don't know if the Capital Improvement Office tracked how many have gone to business versus neighborhoods. But if I had, you know, to guess, I would think more go to neighborhoods than business, but we haven't tracked that.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. I can ask the Capital Improvements office if that's if that's data that they have or not. Wonderful. If there aren't any more questions about the PIAC process, we will then turn it over to Councilman Barnes and Councilwoman Raina Parkshaw for their legislative updates.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I thought I would try one more time for the video. I apologize, my video was not up. But first of all, I want to take the opportunity to thank Chief Smith and KCPD for being on the call. Also, Robert Woods, Erik Dickinson, and Ruth Turner for serving as speakers. And I just want to remind everybody that tomorrow we have a special election. The polls will open at 6 a.m. and close at 7 p.m. I want to encourage you guys to let your voice be heard and go out and vote tomorrow. You can check your polling location at kceb.org. Many of the locations have changed due to COVID-19 to allow for more social distancing. So again, check kceb.org to find your polling location if you have not received your card in the mail. Also, I would like to share a little bit about the COVID-19 testing sites. Okay, there's information about the polls, just some key information about what to take there for those of you who are actually able to view the screen. I know we have several people that have called in, so I'll just quickly run through those, ensuring that you take hand sanitizer with you to the polls tomorrow, Lysol spray or some sort of spray. They are going to be sanitizing the equipment there as well. They have single-use pens and pencils that'll be used for voters who are voting on paper. And as I stated, social distancing will be upheld, and so make sure you're wearing your mask as well. The COVID testing sites, we are going to put up the next slide. We'll have the testing sites. So pretty much every day this week, Kansas City, Missouri Health Department is conducting COVID-19 community testing from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And you'll see those dates on the slide there. We are also sending this information out in our weekly newsletter, but you also can probably see that information on our Facebook page. It's posted there as well. If you have any questions, you can call 311. As a matter of fact, they would like for you to call 311 to schedule an appointment. So you can call 311 if you need more information.
Yes, and then just to note, the Wednesday, June 3rd, Memorial Missionary Baptist Church, that location is in the 5th District. So if you are able to make it there, obviously go to anyone that is closest to you or that you can go to, but the Wednesday one is indeed a 5th District site.
Okay, and we have for some of the information about what we have. Oh, I'm sorry, there's additional testing. Additional testing that Swope Health is doing at 9:30, from 9:30 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, that you will be able to get testing there as well. And there's some other testing locations. June 2nd at the City Union Mission, so that is tomorrow. June 3rd, Memorial Missionary Baptist Church on Hickory Mills Drive, as well as June 10th, Colonial Presbyterian Church at 95th and Warnell.
Just to clarify, the June 2nd date is only for members of the homeless community. Just to clarify that, but by all means, if you are experiencing symptoms, you can call SWOPE. Their hours are 9:30 to 4 to schedule appointment. That number is 816-923-5800 to schedule a walk-up or drive-through testing site. We've also got Truman Medical Centers who continues to do testing throughout the city. If you are experiencing symptoms, you can call 816-404-CARE, again, to schedule a test up to 7 days a week. And they are having a testing site this week, also on Wednesday, 2 to 5 p.m. at Morning Star Baptist Church. Back to you, Councilwoman Parkshaw.
Thank you. So we have done quite a bit in terms of giving out essential supplies and such as hand sanitizer and face coverings. Last week, we did a 5th District essential item giveaway and really had an excellent turnout. We passed out about 130 face coverings within about an hour and a half. People were lined up early. So we recognize the need and are putting together another essential item giveaway as well. We also joined on Friday, May 29th, we joined Councilman Ellington at Paradise Baptist Church here in the 5th for a food drive, and we passed out 300 bottles of hand sanitizer to the residents that drove through. We also continue to work with Truman Medical Centers and KCPS. We're going to host another COVID-19 testing site, so please, in the 5th District, so please continue to keep your eyes open for that, as that information will be coming probably, I would guess, by the end of the week. We should have that finalized. And then some exciting news. Today, Dr. Archer and Councilwoman Robinson and myself led a teletown hall discussion on AARP, where we talk with residents about the work that we've done to help seniors. We've talked about the disparity of the COVID-19 pandemic. That information will, if you would like to hear a replay of that, that will be available on the AARP website, I believe tomorrow, they said. My office also has partnered with the Shepherd Center KC to expand their senior phone pal program. So if you are a senior or if you know of a senior who would benefit from a bi-weekly wellness call, I'd encourage you to write down this number. And ultimately they have trained volunteers that will call to just do a wellness friendly check-in call. And they have quite a few volunteers who they have screened who are looking for seniors. So if you know someone, please pass on this information. The phone number is 816-444-1121, extension 109. And again, that's Shepherd Center, Kansas City, and it's 816-444-1121, extension 109. So moving on from COVID, you know, that we have had quite a bit going on.
Councilwoman Parkshaw, if I could just real quickly, as it relates to COVID, just mention that there are 2 presentations that were made, one to the city, a company called Bennett Packaging. They donated, was it 500 or 200 face shields to our fire department and our solid waste department?
It was 500, and we just received another email that they have 500 more to donate.
Okay, so to protect our first responders as far as fire and our solid waste individuals, as it relates to when they're out there picking up trash. These face shields will really protect anything from just popping up in their faces, in their eyes, or what have you. So wanted to publicly thank Bennett Packaging for doing that. Now they make packaging supplies, and they retooled a part of their manufacturing plant so that they could be of help in providing PPE for cities and throughout the region, and in particular in Kansas City here. And then another thing I'll mention is that I've got a messenger through Facebook from a young lady. I don't even remember her name, but she had been visiting her grandmother in a nursing home in the 5th District. And she was just concerned that everyone was walking around in the nursing home with little to no face masks. And she asked if there was a way that we could provide some face masks. And I've been working with several of the individuals in several of the unions, and in particular, Pat Jones, who was a union representative for the American Federation of Teachers. But she's working with fire unions and some of the carpenters unions and all of those folks. And they have been getting face masks, PPE donated from people from all over the country. And we were able to provide that nursing home with 150 to 200 masks just in a matter of a week. I called Pat, and she made some calls around, and we were able to provide those in a matter of, actually it wasn't even a week. I think it was a few days. But she had put that, and Pat had put that in place several weeks ago, just saying, hey, if you come across folks who need masks, and just so happened this young lady who, like I said, I never knew her, don't know her, but she was just concerned about the elderly in that nursing facility, and we were able to provide those. So those are the kind of things we want to continue to be able to do. We just need people who are willing to step up and say, hey, you know, this facility or this place may need mask, PPE of some type. So I just wanted to mention those two things as it related to COVID, Councilwoman Park Shaw.
Councilman, you might be on mute if you're ready.
I was. Thank you, Councilman Barnes. I wasn't sure if you had made it on the call yet, but thank you for those, for interjecting those updates as well. Also, just to provide you all with some legislative information, I am co-sponsoring a ordinance this week with 4th District Councilwoman Shields, and I've heard we've had some new people join in, Councilman Bunch, as well as Councilman Ellington. Councilman Bunch is 4th District. Councilman Ellington is 3rd District at large. We are working to reform the city charter to allow residents to record or film the interactions of public safety officials without fear of receiving retaliation or a charge like obstruction of justice. We feel that currently this is vague right now, and so we are just wanting to provide some clarity to that ordinance, so that will be heard this week. We were working on this prior to the protest, but we know this legislation is very important, and we hope to see it pass successfully within the next couple of weeks. So you can tune in on Wednesday morning at the Finance and Public Safety meeting at 9, where we will be discussing that if you want more information about that. Tomorrow, I will be joining, and I'm not sure Councilman Barnes if you'll be joining as well, but many of us council colleagues are joining together for a listening session at 6:30. It's a virtual listening session that we will be on that is being led by Councilwoman Robinson of the 3rd District, ultimately really wanting to have a listening ear to learn about Kansas Cityans' issues or concerns with the protest, allowing them an opportunity to be heard by your city leaders. So just would like to encourage you to join us there. And I think we may be able to post some information about that into the chat box so that you all can see that as well. Or you can also visit Councilman Robinson's Facebook page. We will have it posted on our Facebook page as well as soon as we get that information as well.
Yeah, I'll be on that call as well, Councilwoman.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think most of us will be on it. So it'll be a good opportunity. If you have some specific concerns or comments, you'll be able to reach majority of the city leadership there in that listening session. It's a virtual listening session that we will be having. Again, I just want to remind everybody about the 5th District cleanup this Saturday, and we want to ask everybody to make sure they're wearing a mask when they come to the drop-off site. And that concludes my updates.
I don't have anything further, Councilwoman. I want to thank Kima and Angela for putting this together. I think they've done a wonderful job in terms of coordinating and particularly with getting the police chief at such a late date, particularly with all that's going on in the city and throughout the country. As a matter of fact, right before getting on the call here, I was just listening to the president, who basically was sending in or suggesting to all of the states that they bring in the military to help control some of these, some of the protests, which is going to have a profound effect on cities all over the country, and in particular, even Kansas City. So I'm real interested to see how we're gonna be dealing with that over the next 24 hours or so.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I would also like to thank Kima and Angela as well. None of these meetings would be possible without their hard work and effort. So thank you all for continuing to coordinate on behalf of our 5th District residents.
Thank you. I would have to say that most of it should go to Angela and not me. But thank you for that. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Kima. Thank you, Councilman Barnes and Councilman Parkshaw. It's my pleasure to be of service for the people of the 5th District. With that being said, we do have some questions from our residents. The first one comes from Brad. It's about the fire tax. He writes, 6 years ago, the fire department received funding from a sales tax increase. What happened to that money? His follow-up question is, why do they need yet another sales tax increase? And why isn't the fire department funded through the general fund? That's a 3-part question.
I'll take a part of that. The fire department is funded through the general fund, but in addition to general fund dollars, they went down to the state to request legislation that would allow, and I think this was done across the state, and which will allow municipalities to have a tax that will help pay for particular things within the fire department. What we're looking to do with this tax that's coming up, it is actually, the tax is already there in place. So what we're looking to do is extend the tax, or what should I say the fire department is looking to do is extend the tax. And the tax currently is at 1/4 cent sales tax, with the ability to go up to 0.5%. So what they're doing is asking for that other 1/4% to be added and it be extended for 10 years. So that's kind of the history of where we are with the fire safety tax.
Thank you so much, Councilman Barnes, for shedding some light about that. Our next question comes from Diane and Roger. If a neighborhood wants to do a mask and sanitizer event, is Truman or the health department able to provide those materials to us? I'm not sure, this is just me speaking from my knowledge. I'm not sure if they are able to do that. I know at least through what Councilman Parkshaw's office has been able to do, we've been able to, we've had to purchase those items to give them out. So I'm not sure if Truman and the health department have anything to spare as it relates to community events, because I know most of their materials are going to their employees on the front lines. Councilman Barnes or Councilman Parkshaw, feel free to chime in if you have any other.
I wasn't real clear on the question. What was the question again?
The question is, if a neighborhood wants to do a mask and sanitizer event, is Truman or the health department able to provide those materials, the hand sanitizer and the mask? And from my understanding is that their materials usually go to their employees on the front lines. I'm not sure if they do any donations as it relates to community event.
I think you're correct. And I think one of the things that we would have to do is look at other vehicles for purchasing and or getting donations for those kind of numbers to give out to the public. I know that the liquor distillery, the Rieger, is manufacturing sanitizer.
Mhm.
And I think, I think there's been several kind of programs or several kind of events around them manufacturing and giving away some of their product, or either the certain organizations purchasing them and then giving them away. So I don't think, and I think you're correct in that Truman and Swope would really have to, be doing something to go out and give away PPE that their employees need. I mean, they use that stuff on a daily basis. So we would really have to try to find other means of getting donations or purchasing it.
Thank you so much, Councilman Barnes. Diane, feel free to email or call the office if it sounds like you guys might be wanting to do some sort of an event. Our office would be happy to try and find some ways in which you guys can get those supplies via other community organizations that are making masks. We'd be happy to try and figure out how to get you those supplies. It took us a while to figure that out, but we'd be happy to help you with that process. So feel free to reach out to our office so we can try and, work that offline. Our next question also comes from Brad. I think it comes from something that the councilman mentioned. Why does the KC Health Department allow care facilities to function without masks? I know Councilman Barnes, you mentioned, I guess you were somewhere where someone mentioned to you how they did not have masks at a facility. Brad, I'll make sure to share with you the KC Health Department guidelines, but I know in most cases, facilities are trying their best to prepare or to equip all of their employees with PPE to help slow the spread. I'm not sure if Councilman Parkshaw, Councilman Barnes has anything to add as it relates to the health department's guidelines on facilities using masks or not.
Well, go ahead, Councilwoman Parkshaw. You would be much more knowledgeable about that than I am.
Thank you. The Kansas City Health Department does not have the ability to be able to mandate that those care facilities function or that they require their staff to have masks. They are not a regulating body over those facilities. They can make recommendations, but they are not able to do that, to enforce them and require them to do that. But we can definitely share your comments or concerns with Dr. Archer in regards to that, but they at this point don't have the ability or jurisdiction to be able to do that. That's mandated at the state level in terms of the state licensing and regulatory body.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Parkshaw, for providing clarity about that. If there are any more questions from our residents, feel free to use the Q&A feature at this time. Otherwise, I think we've gone through all of our speakers that were on our agenda. So feel free to, like I said, to add any questions. It looks like I'm not getting anything right now. Thank you so much to all the residents who were able to join us this evening. We really appreciate you all taking the time. Thank you for your patience as we kind of work through some of our technical difficulties as it relates to the video. I'll make sure to figure that out for next week. But we really do appreciate you all staying engaged with us through these, different times. As usual, you can always reach out to our office. I try my best to be responsive. To any questions or concerns you have, you can give me a call at 816-513-6521. Again, 816-513-6521. That's my office number for Councilman Parkshaw. Looks like I haven't gotten any questions in our question and answer feature, so I'll just assume that you guys got your questions. Oh, look, we got one more. Okay. This is from Brad. At the last 5th District public meeting, I asked why there had been no action taken regarding public regarding affordable housing. Since then, the City Council has approved subsidies for another office building downtown. How can downtown continue to be a top priority for the council?
Well, I don't know if downtown is any more of a priority for the council. I'll just say that when we look at the affordable housing, one of the things that has to occur is that a developer has to come to us with a plan. So any developments that have been approved as of late were developments that were brought to the council by a developer, and so it's not as if we're going out as a council to say we want to do these developments downtown. There are developers and property owners who are submitting plans for their property and developments in that area. We're actually wanting people to come and help us with some of the affordable housing pieces. It's just not happening as quickly as we would like it to.
Thank you so much, Councilman Barnes, for that response. Is there any particular, do you know of ways in which council has ever been like proactive in getting affordable housing, where we can recruit or court folks to look into affordable housing as an option? Is that something you've seen council do before in the past?
Is that a question specifically for me?
Or for both council members?
Oh.
It just, since we're able, as you mentioned, like we're reacting to what developers are proposing. Is there it begs the question is there a proactive method at all? Or are we only limited to what people propose to us?
Well, I think with trying to put forth, particularly in the areas in which the census tracts are basically say that we have the severely distressed census tract, we put forth kind of the full faith of all of the incentives that we can possibly put forth to encourage some folks to do development in those areas. And as it relates to affordable housing in other areas, there's the incentives that would be requested would be so high in those areas that I don't think developers will be looking to run up on those smaller margins. So we'll evaluate any development that comes forward, particularly how, and we will be willing to, at least I would be willing to look at whatever additional things we can do as it relates to affordable housing.
Thank you so much, Councilman Barnes, for kind of shedding some insight on the challenges as it relates to affordable housing and some of the things that developers have to consider when looking at their future developments. Thank you so much for educating us on that. It looks like those were all of the questions that we have. Councilman Parkshaw, Councilman Barnes, are there any, Ruth or Erik, any of our speakers, are there any last thoughts or conclusion statements you guys want to share before we adjourn?
No, I think we've covered pretty much everything I thought we should cover.
And likewise, thank you everybody for joining in tonight, and continue to stay safe and social distance. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Everyone be safe. We'll see you next month.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye, everyone.